So we've got an update on the long detained yacht motor yacht fee. On the 16th of January, there was a court hearing held in the UK at the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. The hearing was to determine what will happen with the imprisoned superyacht. Now, the hearing is the third hearing, this time in the highest court in the land, in a bid to allow this vessel to be moved. Now, the first case was heard in the High Court. The second case was heard in the Court of Appeals, and the third case was held in the Supreme Court. A few people wrote in the comments that they'd already been to the Supreme Court, but they were in the Appeals Court last time. Now, as you all know, I'm not going to go into the whole backstory of this yacht now, because you've all been watching long enough to know that what's happening with this vessel. The vessel was detained in 2022. When Russia invaded Ukraine, the vessel was detained, even though the owner, Sergei Naumenko, he's the ultimate beneficial owner, he was not on any sanctions lists. Now, he's not on the sanctions list in the EU, in the UK, or in the US. But his vessel was detained. Anyway, the UK's point is that he was detained. The vessel was detained because he's a wealthy Russian who could not have become wealthy without having to deal with the Russian authorities, and therefore, he was fair game, if you like. And the other idea was that it was supposed to criticize the Russian government, the Russian regime, to try to get them to pull out of Ukraine. Now, everybody who knows anything about this story knows that people who criticize Putin and Russia, from within Russia, they end up having an appointment with the pavement from a 10th floor window or something like this. So maybe that's coincidence. But, since that initial detention of the vessel, they've had the UK government's had 2 years to find a reason to sanction this chap, and they've not done so. Captain Booth is the captain of Motor Yacht Fee, and he says that the Financial Conduct Authority had been asked numerous times by the UK government to sanction Naumenko, and has declined to do so, saying there is no legal reason to sanction him. Captain Booth spoke to superyachtnews.com, which is not affiliated with us, recently, and he said that even at the Court of Appeal, however, they were, dare I say it, almost apologetic in their ruling. They found, and I quote, that the regulation was embarrassingly loosely drafted from a legal perspective. That's what Captain Booth said. He said, nonetheless, the regulation that Grant Shapps arbitrarily wrote the night before it was delivered to us was not discussed in Parliament and did not go through any due process. Now, the captain of the yacht has declined to speak to us in the past, but he did speak to, like I said, superyachtnews.com. He said, if we lose this case, we're already preparing all our options, including taking it to the European Court of Human Rights. The material degradation of this asset is astronomical. The yacht is on life support, has never been used, and it isn't even finished. He said, Fee is no longer seaworthy and has fallen out of class and is now uninsured. As we reported in previous episodes, the vessel was supposed to be moved to a suitable location. They submitted the paperwork to have the vessel moved, but Captain Booth said to superyachtnews.com that what would happen is they would put in the paperwork, and then the people who worked in that department, the Department of Transport, they would all rotate out, and then they would have to start the process over and over again. And he said there was a deadline for moving the vessel, which was basically the end of December, and that's because the vessel was falling out of class and would be uninsured, right? So now they can't go to sea because the vessel isn't. It's a bit like having an MOT on your car. Once that's out, you can't drive it. And it's kind of similar in a very simplistic way. The captain said that the vessel has faulty electrical systems, and they've almost had a number of fires on board because of those issues. And he says they've got 60,000 litres of diesel fuel on board, and the vessel's location means that even the emergency vehicles cannot reach the vessel very easily. I've seen photos of emergency vehicles in that area. They can get in, but it's not very easy. All those connected with the yacht are now waiting for the judgment from the Supreme Court, which has now adjourned after that hearing. and the decision could take around 2 months for them to put that out there. Thanks very much for watching this video. You've been watching a Super Yacht News clip. If you'd like to see the full unedited Super Yacht News video, you can click on the link over here. You can also find our channel links below here. And if you'd like to see more shorter videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to this channel.